Hey everyone, Erin from the Impatient Gardener. It's a windy day here, but it is the time of the year when it's a good opportunity to check in on some of the projects we did throughout the year while we're sort of in the process of buttoning things up on them. And that brings me to the neighbor garden here. So this is the garden that we built in conjunction with our neighbors between our two driveways. The idea behind this garden was just a little bit of beauty because we all look at this area all the time, and basically it ends up being, it was kind of a weedy mess. And it just wasn't very pleasant. And since we both look at this area, we thought, why wouldn't we make this kind of a pretty little spot? This is a dry shade area. It's growing underneath a very large spruce. And our goals for this project were that it had to be, number one, deer resistant, number two, hardy in our zone 5, and number 3, really low maintenance stuff. So we went with a really simple palette of plants here. And I'll link that video so you can see what we all put in here. And I did a blog post on it as well that I'll link. But the idea was easy beauty, right? So part of easy beauty to me is adding in some bulbs. So I'm gonna just walk you around, show you how things are looking, which is, I think, pretty good. And then I'm gonna talk to you about some bulbs we're gonna add. Just to give you the lay of the land here, the spruce tree in the center is basically the center of the garden. It goes about to there in terms of the area we planted, and about to there. We'll expand this as it grows out and as we can to the trees on either side, but we didn't want this to be an overwhelming project that became a big thing. So we just started in a pretty condensed area. Now, let's just take a look at some of the plants. First of all, I think the one you see the best from far away here is this Lamium. This one's called Ghost. A lot of people are not fans of Lamium. This is also known as dead nettle because it can spread. I think in a dry, shady area, most plants are pretty controlled. I happen to like it quite a bit, and I think it looks really good. The real test for this will be to see how this does over winter. Now, we really concentrated this mostly on our side of the driveway because it's a lot shadier. We're on the north side of the tree, so it's a lot shadier on our side, but we did put some over here on the neighbor's side as well, just not as much of it. But I like this. I feel like it's tough and it'll do its job well. Of course, you guys know that I use geranium macrorrhizum all the time, and there's plenty of that in here. That bulked up really nicely, looking really great here. Also added in some Epimediums, which I think are really going to be the star of this. The Epimediums did not put on a ton of growth, but they all look really healthy and really good. And these should get some fall color here, I think. So they're still looking plenty green, but those look good. I put those mostly on the neighbor's side because there's a bit more sun over here, and I was afraid there might just be like too much shade on our side. So I kept the plants on our side really tough. I purposely kept these plantings fairly low. The taller plants in here are going to be the goat's beard. This was this is a shorter variety of goat's beard, not the species which can get really quite tall. These are looking a little rough, to be honest. I didn't cut the flower stalks off them, so they still have the leftover flower stalks on them, which I don't care about. They look a little like they had a bit of a rough year, so hopefully they'll be okay. And then on our side, I worked in some Carex Flocka Blue Zinger. This is the grass that comes with a bit of a warning label. It can get a bit aggressive, which is partly why I put it on our side, because this is going to be such a tough area in terms of shade and snow removal, because snow gets piled up, because this is right against our driveway over here. So I put things that I thought would be super tough over here. There's a little bit of it mixed in there, but I didn't want it to, I didn't want the neighbors to have to worry about it, although we're all maintaining all of this. And then I actually had this heuchera, I think this is Carnival, left over, and I stuck it in here, and I love it. And the deer have not touched it, which is amazing. That's the only reason I didn't put more heuchera in here. So if this one makes it, I will probably add some more heuchera in here. Now, I did put other things, like along the edges, we already had some sweet woodruff growing here, and I didn't take that out. I think that's a good ground cover. In general, things are pretty good. The only issues we have, I did do a little weeding here. We've got a lot of little ash trees popping up, which is always funny that ash trees die here because of emerald ash borer, but they pop up like seedlings. And the damn squirrels are piling up their pine cones again. So I'm gonna go in here and rake these pine cones out of here, because if you recall, you can kind of see what I call the high water mark on the tree here. I think if I go to this side, you can see the high water mark on the tree there. That's how much soil I pulled away, but it wasn't even soil, it was chopped up pine cones from the squirrels. And they're at it again, piling up their pine cones all along the base of the tree here. I'm gonna rake these, in fact, I'm gonna rake these out right now, get rid of, or scoop these out and get rid of these before we do any bulbs here. Okay, now that I cleaned up after the squirrels. Okay, bulbs. I'm going strictly with daffodils here. I wish I would have bought some muscari to put in here. I think that'd be pretty too, but I can always add that in the future. But we're just gonna go super simple with daffodils. These are generally smaller flowering varieties, which I think will look nice in this sort of smaller space. 3 varieties that I'm going to be adding here. The first is tete-a-tete. So what I really like, I always get my bulbs from Longfield. They sell these in a 100 count bag, which is nice if you want to just sort of mass plant. And then I've got Barrett Browning, which is it's a white flower with kind of a cute little short orange center that's kind of a bright little pop. And Golden Echo, which is a yellow and white one. So these are all early to mid bloomers, which is sort of my preference. I want to see color as soon as I possibly can. So there'll be it'll be a good wave because we'll have a bit of early. I've got the tete-a-tete is early. No, excuse me. The Barrett Browning is early. The tete-a-tete is sort of early to mid, and the Golden Echo is mid-spring. So we'll have a good, I think they'll all be blooming at the same time. Now, when it comes to planting like this, you know, you can plant, one way to do this is to throw them all in a tub, mix them all up, and then just plant them. I think I'm not going to do that. I think I'm going to plant these in groupings. So I think because I've got the most of the tete-a-tete, I think I'm going to do 60 of the other two and then 100 of the tete-a-tete. But again, I can always plant more or less depending on how it goes when I get in there. I think what I'm going to do is really do the tete-a-tete as the overall one, sort of create some big sweeps of that, and then tuck in, you know, clusters of these other ones, sort of mix throughout that kind of wave of them. And because we're dealing with a lot of roots here, rather than digging into this with a shovel, which was hard enough when we were planting things, I'm just going to use the auger, and I'm going to go multiple bulbs per auger hole because otherwise I'm going to be here all day. Before I put any bulbs in, I just want to show you what I did. What I ended up doing was sort of just drilling a whole bunch of holes to create these sort of rivers. And this is all for a tete-a-tete. So these are all going to go through there, and I'll plunk in. And I've sort of got mostly this half of the tree, on this side of the tree, done. I'll put the tete-a-tete in there, and then I've got, you know, bare spots, for instance, right there, where I will plant the other varieties. And I'm not going to cover up these holes until I have those other varieties planted so I can remember where I put stuff. If I'm anything, I am the queen of underestimation. That was about 150 bulbs just in that area. So I had planned on using some of these somewhere else. Maybe that's not going to happen. We'll figure it out. All right, now I haven't covered those holes up. Now I'm going to go through and drill the holes between those to put in the other two varieties. Okay, I think you can see that I've got a fair amount of work ahead of me, although really it's going quite quickly. But as usual, I'm whipping through bulbs way faster than I had intended to. It will be beautiful over here, and I am actually really looking forward to having this look really pretty. So anyway, I'm going to keep plugging along with bulb planting. That's the update on the new neighbor garden. I can't wait to show it to you in spring. All right, have a great day in your garden. See you soon.
100 times a day. You'll get tired of my voice. That's how much I'm gonna tell you.